Of team science, and today we're going to talk about the importance of listening. But to start us off, I want to talk about the epidemic of loneliness that we have in the United States and actually throughout the world. And practitioners and academics alike are sounding the alarm bell about this problem that we have. This is a letter from the Surgeon General saying loneliness is far more than just a bad feeling. It harms individual and societal health. It is associated with the greater risk of cardiovascular disease, dementia, stroke, depression, anxiety, premature death. The mortality impact of being socially disconnected is similar to that of that caused by smoking up to 15 cigarettes a day, and even greater than that associated with obesity and physical inactivity. So really a problem, and it's also a problem at work. The cost of loneliness at work means that lonely workers miss 2 weeks more a year, and over half of lonely workers are seeking new jobs. So retention is more of an issue for people that do not feel like they belong and they feel very disconnected. So the opposite of that we all really want is the feeling like others are willing to get to know us, that we are seen, that we are heard, that people understand us, and that ultimately they are with us. That's kind of the bottom line that every human being wants in some capacity. And really, when you think about how do we arrive there, there's a lot of different aspects to that, a lot of things to unpack of how do we get to a situation where everyone in our team and we as leaders feel like we are seen and heard and understood, and others are with us and standing with us. A bottom line foundational ability is listening, listening carefully and deeply. It's the beginning of empathy. It's the beginning of perspective taking. It's the beginning of feeling safe in a team. And so many others, inclusion is and feeling a sense of belongingness. It's absolutely foundational, and it's especially critically important for leaders. So I know the statistics we just presented on loneliness and the epidemic. It can be easy for all of us to say, well, that's beyond my scope. There's really nothing I can do about that. And the reality is there's something that everybody can do about it. And really, it comes down to listening. Now, some of you may be groaning and saying, oh, I already heard that. It's all these soft skills and I'm kind of over that. But let me draw to your attention this recent meta-analysis just came out this year on the impact of listening and the fact that it just flat out affects the bottom line. Listening is associated with higher job performance, both for the listener and the speaker. Which is very interesting. It's associated with higher relationship quality. It's associated with positive affect, job attitudes. Their motivation increases when you feel heard and seen. And that, again, is both the speaker and the listener. And this is based on 665 effect sizes, 400,000, over 400,000 observations. So a whopping testimony to the fact that this is something that we should all be improving at and prioritizing. The problem with listening is that it's hard. It is not easy, and especially in an age with increased distraction, right? And the goal is to really listen, to hear, not just what the person is saying, but the nonverbals that come through when you truly listen, and you're even listening beyond what's not said and between the lines. And that's what we all want. But so often the barriers are that we're not really listening to hear, we're listening to respond. I'm trying to think of the next thing I'm going to say. I'm trying to think of the points I'm going to make after that person has stopped talking, which means that I'm not listening. And of course, the data on multitasking for us is we don't do it well, so you're not listening and then trying to think of what you're going to say at the same time. Another barrier is you're listening to win, it's some sort of one-upmanship. So you're trying to come up with a better argument. You're trying to, come up with a more pithy point. And again, the whole point is you're thinking about what you're going to say next. And and how you're going to make a better argument than is currently being said, but which means that you're really not focusing on what is being said. And so the characteristics of the best listeners, they're fully present and completely in the moment. And again, this is a challenge. We all have so many things going on, and it's easy for someone to be talking and we're thinking about the grocery list, or we're thinking about, the next thing on our to-do list. But that is being, fully present. I found that it's even helpful when I have been distracted in my thinking, and to come back to it and just ask the person to, can you repeat that? And sometimes even admit, I just kind of got distracted in my thinking, but I really want to pay attention and listen and be in this moment. They're fully open to the other person's thoughts, ideas, and feelings. Many times we start to judge, we start to make some value judgments about what the person is saying. They haven't yet finished what they're saying, and we're already, I don't like that point. I disagree. And being more fully open to what the person has said, kind of trying to reserve judgment until after the person has talked and you've gotten a chance to dialogue and ask some follow-up questions to really get in that space of where they are. They understood my experience from my vantage point. So perspective taking, being able to put yourself in the other person's world, and for a little bit, understand what it is like to be in their space. And then, genuineness and showing that you cared. I read a quote that said that listening and love are so interconnected that you really can't tell the difference between them. So this is a topic that I think every person, including myself, can get a lot better at. I don't think there are any experts on this. And so I encourage you to think about one thing you can do this week to make listening a priority and to do it better. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Susan. As always, such a wonderful